Before you begin this graphic organizer, please make sure that you have read the chapter 1924 and the first two chapters, Las Uvas and Las Papayas in Esperanza Rising. We're going to fill in the first two lines together, and you're going to fill in the third line on your own just from choosing, after you've read the text, choosing another scene yourself and telling me about the interaction between two characters. So let's get started first with which scene. And so in the first chapter, which is technically called 1924, there's a part where the papa is teaching Esperanza, this whole valley breathes and lives, he said, sweeping his arm toward the distant. It gives us grapes. Did you know that when you lie down on land, you can feel it breathe and that you can feel its heart beating? So then there's a scene, this is going to be on page 2 of the text, where he has Esperanza actually get down and do this. Now, she's 6 years old, right? So when she's doing this, she's giggling. Anyways, we'll get to that part in just a second. So this is where he says, you can only feel the earth's heartbeat when you are still and quiet. Okay, and this is from page 2 of the text. So character A is going to be Papa, Esperanza's father. His name is Sixto Ortega. And character B is going to be Esperanza. It doesn't matter which one is which. You can choose either. And then let's say, what are the actions that Papa is doing? He is teaching Esperanza from a very young age about the land. He is grateful for all the land has provided. He is teaching and showing her around the property because he doesn't have any sons. So she is the only daughter, so he is his pride and joy. So she gets to be the one that inherits all of this from him someday. And he is just a very humble man. For being a landowner, he's known for respecting his employees and for giving them things and being generous versus other landowners that are very dictatorial. And so he is a well-respected man, and he's trying to pass this on to his daughter to respect the land and the people that work for him. So another action is he's telling her to be patient. Okay. Now, what are her actions or her reactions as he's trying to show her this? Well, she's 6. First, she's giggling, right? She's laughing and trying to be serious. Then she finally is able to get serious. And, well, first of all, she says, I hear it. Too soon. Right? She immediately lays down and tells, no, I hear it. But he tells her, no. You can only feel the earth's heartbeat when you are still and quiet. So she says, I can't hear it. And he says, wait a little while, and the fruit will fall into your hand. You must be patient, Esperanza. She waited and lay silent, watching Papa's eyes, and then she felt it. Softly at first, a gentle thumping. So finally, she is able to be at peace and hear the earth. So what does this tell us about the characters? Do we think that they're really hearing the earth's heartbeat? We know that they are superstitious. Similar to Native Americans who truly believe that we are being given all of these gifts from the earth, they feel this same sense of respect and that they are really being honored to receive these gifts from the earth. You can tell he's a humble man. So what this tells us about the characters is that Papa and Esperanza are very close and love each other a lot. And we know that Papa is trying to teach her He wants to impart all of his wisdom on her. He wants her to be in charge of the land someday the way that he is. So that's one of my favorite scenes, when she's first with her father on that scene. And so I wanted to share that one first. Now let's go to the second scene. And I'm going to go to the very end of today's reading, to the end of Las Papayas. Now remember that Miguel is the son of the workers on the land of Hortensia and Alfonso. And Miguel and Esperanza grew up playing together. But as the older they've gotten, they started to grow apart because they were being told and taught by their parents. Like, you are the rancher's daughter. You're going to go on to marry a rancher's daughter. You are the son of the workers. You two are on other sides of the river, right? They've been taught that they can't be together. So Miguel and her have grown apart a little bit. So this is after her father, they got the news that her father has passed away. And Miguel sits down with her in the garden. And so this is on page 35 of the text. And the two characters are Miguel and Esperanza. And this is when he found her in the garden and sat beside her. Since Papa died, he had been polite but still had not talked to her. Ansa, he calls her, using her childhood name. Which rose is yours? So that scene from page 35 to page 36 is the one I'll be talking about. So what is character A, or Miguel, doing? Miguel is suddenly treating Esperanza like they are children again. So almost out of a moment of compassion, he feels for her and what's happened to her dad. So he's treating her like they're children again. He's calling her by their childhood nicknames, and he's doing the game they used to play of which rose is yours, etc. So it's like he's reverting back to childhood for a minute. But then the conversation turns very adult. Esperanza asks him, that they like reminisce for that second, and then what does it all mean, Miguel? And he immediately goes into all of the things that are being said in town, and that saying that he only stayed with his parents on this land because the father was so generous, but with Papa being gone now, they were going to have to leave. So he gets very serious and tells Esperanza the truth. He and his family will be leaving. So what are Esperanza's actions? She is filled with emotion. When Miguel goes to the garden with her. She asks him for advice. What's going to happen? What does this all mean? She truly trusts him. You can tell that she really wants a truthful answer at this point because things have gotten so serious. So what does this tell us about the characters? What this tells us is that they still have strong emotions for each other. It tells us that they have grown up. Though they shared their childhood past and they reminisced for a second about their childhood, they have to talk about serious things now with everything that's happened. They have grown up. We know that Miguel is going to the U.S. And finally, Miguel ends it with saying, "You were right, Esperanza. In Mexico, we stand on different sides of the river." So we know they still feel like they are not on the same level as far as the socioeconomic status might go, etc.